Hey guys, so the other day I recorded an entire setup video of how I set up Notion and how I'm going to kind of use that for my plan with me. So this is going to be a little bit of a different plan with me video. If you don't know what Notion is, it is basically a software that replaces my daughter's playing down here. It replaces like Evernote, Google Drive. It's replaced Todoist for me. It's basically like a personal wiki. It has a ton of functionality. I don't really know how to describe it other than just showing you it. Of course, I will link down to their website down below, but if you are like a productivity like me at all and you really just like organizing and you just really like that kind of stuff, you're gonna love this. So I'm gonna show you my whole setup. If you want to just skip straight ahead to actually the plan with me and seeing how I actually use it, I will put that timestamp down below. But I was recording this for like 3 hours and I didn't realize that my mic wasn't plugged in properly. So I'm going to have to do voiceovers, so just bear with me. It's not going to match up to the video perfectly, but I'm going to speed up a lot of it. You're not going to watch 4 hours of footage, obviously. So yeah, let's just hop right in. Okay, so Notion is made up of pages. So this dashboard is a page. You'll see I have a page for my business stuff. And then within each page, you can create more pages. Like my 2020 content plans is another page. You can add images, you can add text, you can add inline tables, you can add videos, you can add a ton of stuff. And I'll kind of get more into the functionality of it as you start to see me set things up. But what's nice about this is because you can layer these up pretty much as you want to, you can create really whatever you want in here. So I'm going to kind of quickly click through here and just show you some of my pages. There's a few like roommate space, that is more private because I share that with my husband and my sister-in-law that has like our lease on it. But we use this for budgeting. We have like our singing fund tracker, our expense tracker, our subscription tracker in here. We keep track of our goals for paying off debt. And then I also keep a lot of personal stuff in here, like journaling. Before I set everything up, I had this master task list, which just wasn't functioning well. I found myself not really using this or checking it very often because it had some stuff, but not everything. So I would check Google Calendars more than I would check this. And I love Google Calendars, but Google Calendar also didn't have everything. So I was using Google Cal, Todoist, my email, and this all in one, and I needed to combine it. So that's what this first section of this video is going to be about, is just simplifying this task list and adding a couple things. So we'll get right into this. So the first thing I wanted to do was create a meal calendar, which you'll see me change here in a minute. I wasn't quite sure how to do this, so I ended up using a template, which you'll see later. But I also wanted to do a perpetual calendar. So basically that is like birthdays, anniversaries, things that occur every single year on the same day, don't really change. So I was hoping Facebook would have some sort of export option where I could export birthdays, but I got rid of that. So that sucks. So what I did was I just started to go through my Facebook friends list to make sure I was getting birthdays. And then I went through my own calendar of like anniversaries and people who weren't on Facebook to make sure I got everyone. I'm still missing a bunch of people and a bunch of stuff, but it is what it is. So then the other thing I did was add in a couple of formulas to add a year, 2 years, and 3 years to the date. So that way, as I can move through the calendar, I don't have to change the date every year. I can just choose what format is being used. I didn't explain that very well, but basically it's just showing me what day it's going to be on in the future. So I am going to quickly put in all of these different people and events. started to set this up, I changed a view to a calendar view so that way I could see if I could use future dates as a way to see, like in 2021, whose birthdays would be there. And it did actually work. So that was fantastic. Basically, what I did then is I just set up a couple different views so that way I could view it properly. Then I decided that for my meal calendar, before trying to build something myself, I would see if there were any good templates. Notion has an amazing template gallery, you guys. Notion themselves made a bunch of them, and then a bunch of users also made some. So there's a huge variety of templates. So if you ever are wondering, like, if there's an easier way to do it than to build yourself one, check the templates first. So I found this really great one. I'll link to it down below. But this ended up being the one that I use with some tweaks to it. So basically what it does is you can choose for what day you are going to do a meal, and it will auto-populate what the meal is and what is on the grocery list for you. So it's super nice. It'll take some setting up because you have to put in your own meals. You have to assign what ingredients go with it. You have to add your own tags. So it's a very time-consuming thing, but I decided that I would go ahead and start using it. I actually had a huge list of dinner ideas in my Todoist account. So you'll see in a little bit me export that from Todoist and import it into Notion. So that saved me a little bit of time. But I'm just going to slowly over time add different ingredients to it, add more dinner ideas, and that way over time it'll just become a really, really big library and encyclopedia basically of meal ideas, which I think will be super helpful for me and my family. Okay, so once I had created my perpetual calendar and my meal planner, I wanted to find a way to combine my master task list in with those two and just have like different views. But I realized that I needed to probably just copy and paste everything into my master task list. So I decided to keep master task list as like the main page, and then I copied everything else over. So you'll see I'm going to kind of format everything correctly and then just copy and paste everything in so that it all matches and is all in one master giant ridiculous list, and then I'll sort out the views afterwards. One of the best features of Notion is that you can set up filters, sorting, and properties so that on every single view, you can choose kind of like what you see and how you see it. So you'll see me kind of setting that up here where you can add like 40 different columns, but then on my perpetual calendar view, maybe I only see 4 of those columns. So you can really customize it to be whatever you need it to be. And then of course you could have just one master view that has all of your meal plans, all of your tasks, your perpetual calendar, and anything else you put into there. You can also make as many views as you want. So I am just kind of playing around with that, and you'll see I am editing the meal planning calendar a bit so that it lives within my planner, and then I'm still referencing back and using relation tables to relate back to my different recipes and my different ingredients lists. So I have some favorites saved up here. This intermittent fasting one, this is for a blog post I'm currently working on, so I'm going to skip over that one. The first one I'm going to go into is my planner. So you can see I have a few things in here. Today is January 24th, so I have some stuff for the rest of the month, but I'm going to go ahead and plan through February. Now, my planner is part of a larger calendar. So I have my master calendar here that has all of my different tasks, all of my friends' and family's birthdays, events, anniversaries. I have meal plans on here, but they are broken up into different views, which you can see here. So I'm going to go through and not only plan dinners for a good chunk of the month, but I'm also going to kind of brain dump some tasks into here so that I kind of have my running task list for the month. For example, I pre-plan my workouts, so those will go in here. And then I also have habits. These I just do daily. So this is, wait, it's the 25th. I just realized that. But this is like my habit tracker. And then I have my weekly tracker as well, which I'll get into. And then I have my month-to-month plans. And then the last one is my expense tracker, which I'm going to duplicate this for January because I really liked how I did this one. And I'll make a February version using this duplicated one. So let's go ahead and just start in planner. The first thing I want to do is open up my meal planner because I do actually have a sticky note next to me of a few different meal ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this in now and check off all these older ones. So I only plan half a month at a time because mid-month we actually get our meat delivery from Wild Pastures. So once we get that delivery, then we plan for the rest of the month. So I'm going to stop at February 16th. I'm going to go ahead and put in the meal ideas that we have for this month. You'll notice I kind of showed you this list earlier that a lot of these don't have anything in the shopping list. That's because a lot of my recipes I haven't actually filled in yet. So I'm going to do that later. I don't actually have time while I'm filming this video, but by next month I should have a lot more of these recipes filled in, making the shopping list a lot more helpful in the future. Okay, so now that all my meals are in here for the month, then when I go to my master calendar, I can see them all on here. So it's a little easier to meal plan. And then what's nice about this as well is that if plans change, I can just drag and drop them around to whatever day is the day that we're actually going to do that. I try to space it out a little bit so we're not like having pasta every night or chicken every night. And then Wednesdays we try to do fish on those days because my sister-in-law doesn't like fish, and those are days that she doesn't eat dinner with us. So that's kind of how we meal plan in here. It's super nice. I actually really like how this is working, partially because my husband can see this really easily, but once we get the shopping list set up for each of these, it's going to be so fast to be able to just go through here and like see all of the ingredients and basically just make our shopping list based off of that, which is super handy. So that is the planner. So next I'm going to go into my task view and I'm going to go ahead and just brain dump a bunch of stuff in here. The first thing I want to do is plan my workouts for each month, like I said, or for the month, excuse me, like I said. Right now I'm just keeping these pretty simple. I'm working out on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So just 3 days a week, so it's pretty simple. But I'm going to go ahead and add those first because those are super easy. Okay, so then what I do for these is either I just pull up a workout that I have in an app I use called Fit On. That's what I do on most Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then for Mondays, I like to plan an actual workout. So I'll just open this up and type my workout in here, so that way it's super easy to access when I'm in the gym. So once all my workouts are added, I'm going to go ahead and start brain dumping. The way I like to do this is just to type out what I'm thinking of for like what I need to get done, and then I add all the due dates, context, and the related goals at the end. I'll talk about this super quick. So obviously these are tasks. If it was somewhere that I had to go to, like I actually had to show up at, that would be like an event. If it was some sort of appointment, like a doctor appointment, dentist, things like that, where I had to call and schedule, and I might want to double check that appointment before going, I'll use that. And then I also have my context. This just helps me kind of figure out when and where I need to do this. So like a chore, for example, always is done at home. That's like laundry, doing the dishes, maybe like deep cleaning something. Focused work, that means that usually I have to have like more than 5 minutes just to sit down and get it done. So that might be outlining a blog post, that might be responding to some important emails, just something where I have to sit down and actually be like in that mindset to do that. At the office, that's something I need to do at work, at my day job. Reset day, those are things that I like to save for my one day a month. I might do a video on a reset day soon, because I do like to do those at least once a month, if not more often than that. That's kind of those days that I do all of that crap I don't really want to do, all those errands I have to run, all those things that just need to be done, and I pack them into one day so that it's all just done at once. So sometimes I'll just think of something, and if I don't know when my next reset day is, I'll just leave that without a date and mark it as reset day. Commitment would be something that I told someone I would do. So if that was like dog sitting or volunteering somewhere, or, you know, meeting someone for lunch that, you know, they just need to have a chat, something like that, where it's important and I need to make sure that that is something that I'm aware of. Don't forget, that might be something like go get a package. If I have forgotten to do it multiple days in a row, I will add it in here. Habits, that's stuff like working out. Those are things that I'm trying to do consistently throughout the year. Out and about, that'd be running errands. So if I had to go by the P.O. box, go to a grocery store, something like that. And then fun would be like going to lunch with friends, or grabbing a movie, or just having like a date night or something like that. And then the last thing here are my related goals. So I have goals set up where I basically kind of write these out at the beginning of the month, and then I check in on them every month or so. So I have just 6 goals right now. Quality time with my people, running 1 mile in under 8 minutes, creating passive income, cultivating a life-giving home, growing in my faith, and being debt-free. So all of these goals usually match up to one of my tasks. If they don't, that's okay. But the idea here is that anything I'm doing throughout the day should be benefiting or working towards one of these goals. So that's kind of the idea behind the goals. But I'm going to go ahead and brain dump here, and then I will move on to the habits. Okay, so my brain is not working properly right now, so these are the only tasks I could really think of. So I'm going to leave it like this for now. This is something that I like to just do throughout the month, like I said, as I think of things, or if I just have a lot on my mind, I'll come in here and brain dump a bunch of them. I'm going to go ahead and add some dates to some of these just to get a rough idea of when I want to do them. A lot of times I'll move these around, depending on what my weeks look like and things like that. Obviously, my reset days one, I'm just going to leave because I don't really need to plan what day that's going to be yet. And like I said, I'll probably do a video on it, so I'll save those for then. But yeah, it shouldn't be too crazy this month. There's not a lot going on, so that's very nice. And yeah, I'm just going to leave this as is for now. So let's move on to the next one, which is my habit tracker. So my daily tracker, I just add as I go. I'll kind of show you what this looks like. So I will put the date in here. I like to write just a short little blurb, Okay, so then I will mark off my habits. So Bible study, these are in the Bible app by YouVersion. I have a couple different Bible studies, one that I'm doing with my husband, one that we're doing with our Bible study group, and then just a couple I do on my own. So my goal is to do those every day. My workout I haven't done yet, so I'm going to leave that blank. Bible journaling, I got a new Bible for Christmas, and every day I've been reading just one chapter in it and like writing out prayers and things. Normally I do this in the morning, but we went to visit my family this morning, so I haven't had the chance to do that yet. And then family time, that's just having like quality family time. So actually playing with my daughter, even if it's just for 15 minutes, sitting down and eating dinner together and praying together, things like that. So I like to make sure that that's done every day. As far as skipped and missed go, skipped usually means that it was an intentional miss. So I purposefully did not do anything that day. For example, I skipped workouts. I was sick for a week. You can still probably hear it in my voice because I'm pretty stuffed up still. But when it's something that is like a reasonable excuse for why I didn't do that, I'll put skipped. If I just missed it straight up because I was lazy or because I forgot to do it, then I will mark it as missed, and that's how I kind of use those. So then we get into the weekly tracking. Every week we try to do a couple of things. So family meeting, I'll talk more about that in just a minute, but we do that every week, usually on Sunday, but not always. Meal plan, that's just making sure that we pulled our meat and veggies out of the freezer as needed for the week. That we have all of the groceries that we need for that week, and that we actually have meal ideas for that week. That just helps us like not have as crazy of a week during the work period, and that way it gives us time on Sunday or Saturday to kind of prep for that. Sabbath, one day a week we do Sabbath where we do not do any work. We don't do housework. We don't catch up on stuff. We just relax. We do our Bible studies. We pray together. We go to church together. It's just a day of resting. So we do that every week. And then the last one is journal. I have a couple of different journals that I keep. One that I'm writing for my daughter. So when she turns 18, we will give that to her. So I write in that once a week. And then we also have this like parenting book that has once a week where you write like a memory. So those two things are just making sure that I'm journaling in them regularly and keeping up with it. Again, just kind of for the week, I just put a little summary of what we did that week, anything noteworthy. And yeah, I already set up my dates for the month, so I just include an end date and I do the whole week. And that is basically how I do it. And same thing, done, skipped, and missed. So then down here, I'm not going to show you January because there's some personal like prayers and things like that in there, but I'm going to open up February and show you what this is. So every month we plan 6 different days. So we plan a family date day. That's me, my husband, and my daughter. That might look like just going to the park or taking the dogs to the dog park. Once it gets warm, we might go to the pool, maybe do the zoo. Just something that is fun that our entire family does together. That's intentionally family time. Same thing with couple date night. That's just me and my husband planning a date night, just us two. And then for our Bible study group, we used to meet once a week, but we all have kids. We all have different job schedules, and it got really hard to find a night every week that we could all meet. So instead, what we have started doing is that the guys have a guys' night, which I just realized isn't on this list, which is weird. The girls have a girls' night once a month, and then once a month we all meet together for Bible study, and we meet a little bit longer. So we'll have dinner, we'll do a Bible study, and then maybe go to church together if it's on a Saturday or Sunday. So those 3 are with our Bible study group. And then we do self-care days, one for myself and one for my husband. We just started doing that this month in January, and it was so good. We're going to keep doing it. Basically, what that means is that for an entire day, for example, on my husband's self-care day, I took the baby for the day. I did all the chores. I did the cleaning. I took the dog out. I did all that stuff that you just have to do when you're an adult. And my husband has the day to do whatever he wants. He can go and meet friends for lunch. He can go get his hair cut. He can go run errands if he wants to, or get a bunch of homework done. He can sit on his butt and binge watch Netflix for 12 hours if he wants to. We each get a day, one day of the month that we just get to do kind of whatever we want. And it's just kind of a self-care day of just doing what we want to do and not having any obligations for that day. And it was so good, and I think we both needed it. So we're going to keep doing that. And then we have our weekly family meeting. So every week, me and my husband just sit down together. Once our daughter is old enough to actually understand what's going on, we will include her in that. But first thing we do is read the Parent Cue app. This is an app that basically tracks how many weeks you have left with your kids until they turn 18. Our church kind of did a little push on this app. It's really interesting. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. But we read through the app together and just kind of catch up on where we are with our daughter and kind of talk about what we can do as a family for that week, how she's doing, just kind of make sure that we are giving her what she needs. Then we discuss any prayer requests we have, either for each other, for our daughter, or just for family and friends and just general prayer requests. And usually I'll just add them in here. So, I'll just kind of make a list. And then throughout my week, I go in here and I just make sure I'm actually praying for them. And my husband can also see this too. And then at the end of each week, if any of those prayer requests were answered, we check them off. And if not, we kind of carry them over into the next week. We update our budget together, so we use Dave Ramsey's kind of budgeting style. We use every dollar for stuff. If you're interested in our budget and things like that, I have a whole playlist about it. We're currently working on getting out of debt, so I'll link to that down below. And then we figure out our dinner plans. So again, just making sure that our meals are good for the week, and also kind of talking about our schedules for the week. So if my husband, he's in school right now, so if he has to meet for like a group project one night and he's not going to be home for dinner, just kind of figuring that out. If we have to volunteer, if we have events going on, appointments, just making sure we're on the same page for each week, knowing like what each other's schedules are and just kind of planning our meals around that. So we have one for each week in our weekly meetings, and it sounds really formal, but it does not have to be. Most of the time we do this in a car ride or just while we're sitting down at dinner. So it could be super casual. But if you guys want a template of this, I will probably include it. I have a couple other templates, or I think one other template in here about intermittent fasting, which I will talk about in a future video. But I am more than happy to put this in there too, because I think it's kind of a cool little idea here. But let me know if you want to see that. So that is my habits. This is all set up. Now the last thing to do is get our budget set up. So I'm going to go ahead and, where is this in finances? We're going to duplicate this. And then we'll do a heart emoji. So last month what I did was keep track of each section of our budget, and I just kind of put a total of what each budget was. I didn't really use that too much, so I'm going to try it for one more month and see if I like it. We'll see. I might just get rid of this part because it wasn't super helpful. But basically what I would do is I would put the name of the expense here. I would put how much it was. So if I got like $100 paycheck, or if we did, like $40 in groceries, I either do plus or minus. And then I would put what bank account we used. The main reason I did that is because Capital One is actually our credit card account. So anytime we used a credit card, I would make sure that I filled that in. I actually didn't fill in our checking account for most of it. But that way I can make sure that our credit card was always paid before the end of the month. I know I just said we do Dave Ramsey, but we do have a credit card for groceries because we get 3% back. So we just pay off the credit card at the end of every month. Don't judge me. That's how we do it. And then I'll put the date of the actual transaction, so the date it was actually paid, what category it falls in, which correlates with these guys up here, and then any notes. So, for example, in personal spending, my husband, me, and my daughter all have personal spending accounts for little things that we need throughout the month. So I might put Steph's account, and that would be a note to just let me know that that was something that I spent money on. So I do this throughout the month, and the idea here is that this sum of the amount column should always match what's in my bank account. So my checking account should always match. And that basically means that anytime this is actually posted to my bank account, I will check it. If it hasn't posted yet, if it's still pending, if it's on the credit card and I haven't made that payment yet, then I will leave that unchecked. And basically what that allows me to do is make sure that we never go to zero or negative in our checking account. But it also makes it really easy as I do this for me to be able to then convert this into every dollar. I know that was a lot, so if you guys are curious about how we kind of budget our money and use this along with every dollar, let me know. I'm thinking about making a video on that specifically because this is kind of weird, but it actually worked really well for us last month. So I'm going to do it again and we'll see how it goes. So I will clear this out, and then later, once my husband and I go through the budget, I'll fill all of these in. And then I will also do a starting balance and do whatever carried over from January into our February account, which should only be a couple of dollars and maybe some pennies. So that is it for all of that stuff, you guys. I think that is kind of everything. I'm going to look through here really quick. I'll give you a little peek here on the meal planner, what this looks like. So I copied the same view of my planner in here, so that way I can just see my meals. And then what I can do is click on meals, and you can see all the ingredients in here is where you would fill it out. So for example, I have a bunch of these filled in here at the bottom. But yeah, that is kind of my whole planning system right now. I do still use my power sheets, which is kind of the reason why you see like habits in here and stuff. These I'm pulling directly from my power sheets. I'm just doing it in a digital version instead of using the monthly paper, partially because I always forget to fill in the paper, and I'm in this every day anyway, so this makes it a lot easier for me to track. But also I just kind of am testing this out because I don't think next year I'm going to use any paper planners of any kind. So I'm slowly trying to build these things in to my daily routine, so that way I can kind of continue building these habits and having like goal focused tasks without having a bunch of paper planners around that I have to lug around with me. So that is everything, you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for bearing with me. I know that was a very long video. Let me know if you like this style of video though. That's super in depth, or if you kind of like my shortened like 5 to 10 minute videos. I'll leave a poll up in the info cards. All right, I will see you guys in the next one.